Your phone buzzes. You see his name, and something in you quietly braces. You already know how this conversation is going to go. He will talk. You will listen. Somewhere in the middle of it, you will find yourself searching for the right words, asking the right questions, trying to help him through whatever he is carrying this week. By the end, he will sound lighter, relieved. Something got lifted. You hang up and you sit there, not quite sure why you feel like you are the one who just carried it. You tell yourself it is fine. This is what it means to show up for people. You tell yourself you are probably just tired being too sensitive, that a good friend does not keep score. You file it away the same way you filed it last time, and the time before that. Here's the thing nobody tells you. That exhaustion you keep explaining away is information. Your nervous system has been keeping accurate records the whole time. It has been trying to tell you something specific for a long time. There is a point where venting stops being connection and starts being something else entirely, something hard to name because it never announces itself. It does not look like manipulation. It looks like a friend who needs you. And you have always been very good at showing up for people who need you. That instinct is fine. Connection requires it. The trouble starts when that instinct gets used against you. So let's be clear before going further. Venting is not the problem. Needing to talk through a hard day, calling someone when you are overwhelmed, processing out loud with someone you trust, all of that is connection. If you are the kind of person who shows up to listen, that instinct is something to keep. What this video is about is more specific, a pattern that looks like normal venting from the outside, but functions very differently underneath. The difference has nothing to do with the topic, the emotion, or how long the conversation runs. It comes down to one question. When it is over, who is carrying the weight? In healthy venting, something gets shared. In what we are about to talk about, something gets transferred. Psychologists call it emotional dumping, and it has 3 telltale signs. The first is that relief only travels one way. He comes to you with something heavy. A work problem, a fight, a frustration he has been carrying. You listen. You try to offer a perspective, gently point toward a solution. It gets dismissed, set aside. The conversation keeps going in the same direction it started. When it ends, nothing has moved. The problem is exactly where it was when he called, except now it is also sitting in you. The second sign is frequency. Everyone has hard seasons. Everyone needs more support at certain points. Emotional dumping is the default, not the season. Every conversation leads back to his stress, his crisis, his week. Over time, you stop expecting anything different. You start preparing yourself before you even pick up the phone. The third sign is what happens when you are the one who needs to talk. You bring something up, something real, something that matters to you. And within a few minutes, the conversation has found its way back to him. The dynamic only moves in one direction. He may not even notice it. Emotional dumping on its own is not yet manipulation. It is often a habit formed by people who never learn to process their own emotions without externalizing them. Exhausting to be on the receiving end of. Often unintentional. What turns it into something else is what comes next. The shift happens when someone learns, consciously or not, that their emotional weight keeps you close. Think about how it works in practice. The first few times you showed up, you did it freely. He was struggling, you were there. It felt like what it was supposed to feel like. 2 people who trust each other. But somewhere along the way, something got reinforced. Every time he brought his pain to you, you stayed. Every time the conversation went too long, you did not leave. Every time he fell apart, you held it together for both of you. The message that's sent, in pattern instead of words, was that his fragility has no consequence, that no matter how much he brings, you will carry it. So he brings more. He keeps doing it because it works. This is what separates emotional dumping from manipulation. The behavior looks the same. What sustains it is different. Emotional dumping is a habit. This is a dynamic where fragility has quietly become a form of control. And here's what makes it so hard to see. The control does not look like control. It comes dressed as vulnerability, as need, as someone who simply cannot cope without you. Carl Jung had a name for the mechanism underneath this. He called it shadow projection. The shadow is the part of ourselves we cannot face directly. The unprocessed pain, the unmet need, the parts that scare us. We unconsciously project the shadow into the people closest to us, and then we manage it from there, in them, instead of facing it in ourselves. When someone repeatedly dumps his emotional weight onto a friend, what he is actually doing is using that friend as a container for what he cannot hold himself. The friend becomes the carrier. The shadow stays unaddressed. The pattern keeps running. There is another concept that explains why this works so reliably. Martin Seligman, the psychologist who founded positive psychology, originally studied something called learned helplessness in the context of people who stop trying to escape situations they believe they cannot change. The mechanism works in reverse, too. Someone can learn that helplessness itself is effective, that falling apart reliably produces care, that fragility keeps people from leaving. Once that has been learned, even without words, even without awareness, it becomes the default way of holding on to connection. The pain is usually real. What has been learned is which pain to lead with and how much of it to bring into the room. The reason this works so consistently on you specifically comes down to something simple. You are not the kind of person who walks away from someone who is suffering. You never have been. He has figured that out by watching you stay every single time, even when staying cost you something. This dynamic does not find people because those people are weak. It finds them because of the qualities that make them genuinely good to have in your life. Empathy means you feel what he feels. His pain lands in you as if it were your own. When he is suffering, something in you suffers too. The fastest way to relieve that, you have learned, is to help him. You do it without being asked because the alternative, standing there while someone you care about is in pain and doing nothing, feels unbearable. That is a manipulation of your humanity itself. The second reason is how you read rooms. People with high empathy become very good over time at anticipating what others need before they ask. You notice the shift in someone's voice before he has said anything. You adjust. You make space. In most relationships, that attunement is a gift. In this dynamic, it becomes a liability. You start managing his emotional state before the conversation has even begun. You soften your tone. You choose your words carefully. You preemptively make yourself smaller so there is more room for him. And you do all of this without being asked, which means he never has to ask, which means the pattern never has to become visible, which means it never has to be addressed. The third reason is what keeps people stuck the longest. There is no single moment you can point to. Nobody screamed at you. Nobody threatened you. Nothing happened that you could bring to someone else and say, "Here, this is why I am exhausted." What happened was 100 small things. A conversation that went too long, a need that arrived at the wrong time, a limit you tried to hold that dissolved before you finished stating it. None of them individually would justify walking away. Cumulatively, they have taken something from you, something real. The fact that you cannot point to a single cause makes it nearly impossible to explain, even to yourself. So how do you actually break this pattern? 5 moves. The first is to stop explaining it away. You do not need a dramatic incident to justify the way you feel. The accumulation is evidence. The exhaustion is data. You are allowed to take both seriously without first proving something terrible happened. The second is to pay attention to a very specific moment. The moment after. Not during the conversation when you are focused on him and what he needs. After. When you hang up. When you walk away. When the interaction is over and it is just you again. How do you feel? Not in a general sense. Specifically. Do you feel like more of yourself or less? Do you feel closer to him or quietly hollowed out? That question, asked honestly and consistently, will tell you more about this relationship than anything else you could measure. The third is to practice what a limit actually sounds like in this dynamic. Most people, when they imagine setting a boundary with someone who is struggling, picture something cold, a rejection, a door closing. It does not have to sound like that. It can sound like this: I hear you and I care about what you are going through. I do not have the capacity for this conversation right now, but I am not going anywhere. That is it. No lengthy explanation, no apology for having a limit, no promise to make up for it later. A calm statement that holds 2 things at once: that you care and that you have edges. The fourth move is to pay attention to how he responds to that limit, because that response is the most honest information this relationship will ever give you. Someone who has been venting out of genuine need without awareness of the pattern will likely be surprised. He may need a moment, but he will adjust. He will find a way to respect what you said, because connection matters more to him than the particular need of the particular moment. Someone for whom your availability has become load-bearing, someone whose sense of stability depends on you having no edges, will respond very differently. The guilt will arrive immediately. The hurt will be disproportionate to what you actually said. You will find yourself within minutes apologizing and walking back the limit you just tried to set. That reaction is pressure, dressed as hurt. And pressure in response to a limit is the clearest signal available that the limit was necessary. The fifth move is to deliberately redirect your attention toward the relationships that do not require this kind of accounting. The people who ask how you are and actually wait for the answer. The people who, when you say you are not okay, make room for that instead of finding a way back to themselves. The people who leave you feeling like more of yourself after you have spent time with them. They have been there. They are there now. This dynamic has a way of consuming your attention so completely that you spend a disproportionate amount of your energy on the relationship that gives back the least. That is a habit. And habits, unlike people, are straightforward to change. Manipulation does not always pull strings. Sometimes it just makes itself so heavy that you carry it without being asked. The hardest forms to recognize are the ones that arrive dressed as need. You were not chosen because you were weak. You were chosen because you were capable, because you could hold it, because you always stayed. The only thing that changes a pattern like this is introducing something it has not encountered before. A limit stated calmly, held quietly, and watch to see what it reveals. Whatever you see in that moment, you can trust it more than the guilt, more than the explanations, more than the version of events your mind has been constructing to keep this manageable. Your nervous system has been keeping an accurate record. It was never confused about what was happening. It was just waiting for you to be ready to read it.